Hi, it's Mindy with Astrology by Love, here to bring you an awesome series on the moon. So we are going to go ahead, jump right in and get started. I wanted to mention a few things first. So the moon in astrology is our emotional body. It shows how we process, how we feel, contain, express, and perceive emotions. If you are born at night, then the moon expresses more frequently. So, and sometimes, a lot of times, is more important than the sun. A good celebrity example of this is Tony Robbins. So, Tony was born at night. He is a Pisces sun, which is sensitive, intuitive, feeling, and we do see that energy in Tony, but he expresses as more of an alpha male. Being born at night, he was also born when the moon was in the sign of Aries. So that is a lot of times where his alpha male energy comes from, his dynamic, go-getter, accomplishment attitude. So that's an example of a celebrity born at night. And if you two are born at night, your moon may express more than your sun, and that would be normal. The moon is also influenced by the house it is in. And the moon represents our mothers or mother figures in our life, as well as the women that we are attracted to and that we attract in. So in a man's life, the moon represents the type of woman that, once again, he is attracted to and who also embodies the energy that his moon carries. So sometimes, and a lot of times in a man's life, that moon energy comes through in the women in his life. We are also going to talk about the stars and what degrees of particular signs these stars are in, and how they affect the moon when the moon is in line with these stars. Know that when a planet or point is culminating or coming closer to a star, that energy is building. Once it passes by, it's kind of built. There's like a pressure release. It quickly lessens and then fades away. Also know that angles from other planets affect your moon as well. So as a general rule of thumb, a sextile or trine brings a planet's energy into the influence of the moon by a pleasant way. It's complementary, it works together. If the planet is in a square or opposition, then it brings that planet's energy into the moon in a frustrating and challenging way. So in the conjunction with a planet with the moon just depends on the planet. So different astrologers have different opinions on the moon's orb of influence. Some astrologers, like William Lilly, say that the moon has an influence on a planet up until 12 degrees. And I've heard other astrologers say as little as 7 degrees. Some ancient astrologers did not use degrees when making charts, and has sort of given us the impression that the entire sign to another entire sign is included in those energies. The stars influence the moon so that the nature of the moon is not lost. It just adds an extra layer of energy, a different energy. As with all energy, sometimes one is stronger than the other, but the original moon energy in that sign is still accessible on some level. Also note, not all of these star placements are fantastic. So, instead of massaging the edges of the truth, I do have to say some negative things about a few positions. Please don't shoot the messenger. There seems to be a balance of some sort in the universe. So some of these places are thought of as beneficial and others are not. Also notice some of these stars don't necessarily completely change the moon. They just amplify certain characteristics. So it may not be as much as a different thing as much, but more a characteristic is just intensified. One other point to consider is that a star has been known to influence the opposite point. So if your moon is behaving differently than the sign and there is not a star at that particular point, check the opposite zodiac and see if there is a star at that point. I don't cover that in these videos. I'm trying to make these not be super long, but I also want them to be informative. So if a star isn't there, check the other side. And for these videos, just as references, I have used Claudius Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios. I have used Vivian Robson's The Fixed Stars and Constellations in Astrology book, and also the websites astrologyking.com and constellationofwords.com. Doing research and going through all this, something I did notice was that Vivian Robson always had the most negative interpretations of the stars. And I thought, what's going on there? So I looked up his chart, and his moon is 2 degrees away from Saturn. It also has a mild square to Mars, which can readily cause a negative outlook on things. And just so you know, this astrologer that you're listening to right now, her moon is in Capricorn, which is also ruled by Saturn. So I'm going to try to keep this light and upbeat, but I do want this to be truthful and honest and also provide insight for you as well. And one last thing, please note that I have read about all of these stars multiple times. I have not necessarily had conversations with astrological scholars about each and every one of them. At the moment, I type out my readings in order to give myself time to best describe what is going on in the best possible way. So I have read and typed all of these names at one point or another. I have not necessarily spoken about them. I am not fluent in Arabic or Latin or even Chaldean. So I'm going to pronounce these names the best that I can. If I mess one up or mispronounce it, which will probably happen, and you know how to properly pronounce it, please let me know down below in the comments. I would love to learn the proper pronunciations of these names. Once again, thank you for watching, and we'll get started. One more thing. I have put the names of the stars down below in the description box next to the degree it is at, and have the time that it appears in the video right next to it. Enjoy! The Scorpio Moon. The Scorpio Moon feels things very deeply, to a level that would scare people without water in their charts if they could feel it. A lot of Scorpio moons feel bipolar, but they have immense self-control and appear on the outside to be calm, cool, and collected. Extremely loyal, partly due to the dislike of change. They are suspicious, they are a little paranoid, and a little bit embarrassed by their paranoia and how they think people are out to get them, or someone may jump out around the corner, or, negative things that could happen. This is how they think. It takes a while for a Scorpio moon to open up and trust, if they ever do. They do this, though, to protect their extremely sensitive and deep feeling hearts. Scorpio moons are capable of sexual encounters where the emotions are suspended. They can be there physically and not feel a thing emotionally. But to have any sort of long-term relationship with a lover, they have to have deep emotions to stay there and see it through. They do not get scared off by emotional vulnerability from others, but is actually drawn into it no matter how dark or twisted the revelation is. Scorpio moon is also not afraid to feel dark emotions and doesn't even necessarily define them as negative. Scorpio moon needs to feel something in order to feel alive, in order to feel okay. So whether it's a deep negative feeling, a deep high feeling, all the other moon signs are the ones that label feelings good or bad. With Scorpio Moon, it just is. And they need to feel it in the extreme just to feel alive. Unforgiveness and revenge are things they are quite good at and feel entitled to due to their extreme sensitive emotions being disrespected or disgraced in some way. A little psychic to possibly very psychic. Scorpio Moon is the moon to call to help you get rid of a dead body. Not only will they be there, they will take that secret to the grave. So the first star we come to with Scorpio is Princeps. Princeps is at 3 degrees and 9 minutes of Scorpio. When the moon is here, it has a finely tuned bullshit meter. They may not call you out on it, but they just know somehow when people are full of it. This moon is good with formal studies and doing research and figuring things out. If this moon is poorly aspected, then they may be the ones doing the lying all the time. This star, Princeps, has an orb of about 1.5 degrees. The next star in Scorpio is Syrma. Syrma is 3 degrees and 48 minutes of Scorpio. The moon here is spiritual and has an understanding that to whom much is given, much is required. This placement is not necessarily talented. It can be, but it is aware that the gifts it has are meant to be shared with the world. The moon here is also very good at explaining what they think in order to win people over to their point of view. It has an orb of about 1 degree. The next star we come to in Scorpio is Khambalia. Khambalia is at 6 degrees, 57 minutes of Scorpio, and it is deep, spiritual, drawn to conspiracy theories, analytical, and always looking for the plot twist. Kind of like Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story. People with their moons here know there is something else going on. Sometimes accused of being paranoid. This moon isn't so much that, but is very aware of the depths and inner workings of this world that most people just gloss over. So the star Khambalia has an influence of about a 1 degree orb. Next is Acrux, 11 degrees, 52 minutes of Scorpio. Here is someone who is truly and greatly affected by their spiritual insights and who needs to meditate, forgive, and keep their soul clean. Acrux is called the astrologer star. And when the moon is here, the native is psychic. The native is sensitive to the surrounding energies and drawn to occult and hidden matters. If your moon is here, it is probably why you felt the need to watch this video. In a man's chart, the energies can express through the woman in his life, particularly through his mama. Acrux has an orb of 2.5 degrees. Next in line at 12 degrees, 16 minutes of Scorpio is Alphecca. The native here, when the moon is here, is probably very good with a language, speaking it and writing it. They also feel comfortable around intelligent women and probably prefer intelligent women. Successful in business, but having enemies go against them with eventual triumph, with them eventually triumphing over their enemies. The moon here is not necessarily lucky in love unless other parts of the chart bring that in. The moon here has an elegance about them, though, despite their relationship struggles. This moon also can bring sorrow through children. Bruce Lee's moon is here 3 minutes away from Alphecca. Kylie Jenner's moon is nearby here too. Alphecca has an orb of approximately 2 degrees. At 15 degrees and 4 minutes of Scorpio is the star known as the South Scale, also called Zubin al-Janubi. The South Scale, literally, Zubin al-Janubi literally translates as the price to be paid. The moon, and really any planet, struggles being positioned here. People with their moon within 1.5 degrees of this star tend to have constant health problems in life. If this is in a man's chart, this energy can come through his mother and lovers. Drug use, being the victim of crimes, and being cheated on by lovers are all typical with this moon placement. Pretty severe emotional problems can also be present in the forms of severe depression, suicidal thoughts, vengeful rage, and just knowing that the world is out to get them. Let's get real. If you're sick, struggle with drugs, and are a victim, that typically doesn't lend itself to a cheery disposition. These emotional traumas are well earned. Staying sober and doing what one can to stay positive is important with this moon position. Counseling is also helpful. So Elizabeth Taylor is the celebrity that has her moon nearby. Elizabeth Taylor's moon is at 15 degrees, 45 minutes of Scorpio, just 41 minutes away from this star. She is famous for a lot of things, including her multitude of marriages. Also to note, Snoop Dogg's moon is at 15 degrees and 51 minutes. So his is nearby the South Scale, Zubin al-Janubi as well. The South Scale and North Scale are in the constellation of Libra in the section of sky known as Scorpio. The North Scale is the next star. So that's at 19 degrees, 23 minutes of Scorpio. The North Scale, this star balances the negative from the South Scale, Zubin al-Janubi. The North Scale is called Zubin al-Shimali. So every struggle that the South Scale had, Zubin al-Shimali, the North Scale, has the opposite blessing. The translation of this star is the price to be received. This is a wonderful and truly beneficial placement for the moon. Keen brilliance with amazing insight is given to these natives. Wealth, honor, and success, and also successful women who are there to help, give guidance, and open doors. A capable leader who does well working with and leading others. The North Scale has a full 2-degree orb. Beyonce has her moon 1 degree and 31 minutes away at 20 degrees and 54 minutes. And Mark Zuckerberg has his moon at 18 degrees and 44 minutes of Scorpio within the blessing of this star, North Scale, also called Zubin al-Shimali. So next in line in Scorpio, at 22 degrees and 4 minutes of Scorpio, is Alpha Serpentis. So this star is unfortunately another star of tragedy, and the moon here suffers as well. The native here is sensitive to toxins and more susceptible to poisonings. This does not necessarily mean drug addiction, but that is very likely. Also more likely to be pulled into negative associations. This is the person who wouldn't rob a bank or kill on their own, but will be dragged into such schemes. Their voices may also have a hypnotizing or mesmerizing effect, especially on women. May have moments of success, but usually end in some sort of failure or tragedy. Alpha Serpentis has an orb of 2 degrees. Next is Agena. Agena is at 23 degrees and 48 minutes of Scorpio. The moon here enjoys good health. That goes hand in hand with high moral standards. This is not necessarily from a weakness or sensitivity to wrongdoing, but due to strong righteous convictions that are conveyed upon the moon here. They do what's right, not because they're afraid of consequences, but because it's the right thing to do. If the right thing brought about consequences, they would still do it. Well-liked and popular, this placement usually enjoys success. Can be a little bit delusional in love due to projecting their high moral standards on the plain normal human that they love. A good place to have your moon though, and a 2.5 degree orb. Scarlett Johansson's moon is 34 minutes away from Agena. Next and last but not least is Toliman. So Toliman is at 29 degrees, 36 minutes of Scorpio. This beautiful energy brings loving, kind relationships with females. Some may even be to the point that they are so perfect and kind that you don't really want them. It's like they're too easy. The moon here also typically brings a wonderful family environment. Definitely a wonderful mother, albeit maybe so sweet it can be icky at times. Prominent, passionate about their favorite cause, and successful with it. Also probably has a love affection for horses. The Toliman has a orb of about 2.5 degrees, and Jennifer Lopez is a celebrity whose moon is 18 minutes from Toliman. Some other celebrities with their moon in Scorpio, we've got Bruce Lee at 11 degrees, 24 minutes. Kylie Jenner, 12 degrees, 31 minutes. Beyonce, 20 degrees, 54 minutes. Lady Gaga has her moon at 11 degrees of Scorpio, 28 minutes. Jennifer Lopez, 29 degrees, 18 minutes. Scarlett Johansson at 24 degrees and 12 minutes. And Will Smith, 21 degrees and 8 minutes. Thank you for hanging with me today and talking about the Scorpio moon.